Good day, welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. In spite of the barrage of criticisms the Starbuck Block PSA has faced from members of the government and a host of international organizations and stakeholders, ExxonMobil Guyana insists that the country got a good deal in 2016. In fact, head of the Exxon subsidiary, ESSO, Alistair Routledge, recently noted that this is the best contract the country has ever had. Meanwhile, Kaieteur News publisher Glenn Lal said this can only be described as a putrid insult to Guyanese. Stakeholders have flagged the fact that Guyana allows Exxon and partners to pay a paltry 2% royalty and recover it. They have also highlighted that no insurance policy from ExxonMobil Corporation and its subsidiary has been made public, and thus far there have been word-of-mouth assurances that ESSO has coverage for up to $600 million per spill. Critics have also lambasted authorities for allowing Exxon and partners to recover all interests taken on loans for the projects offshore. Best practices dictate that there should be a cap on these interests, but Guyana has none. In other news, many car owners are beginning to fear that they could be the next victim after carjackers snatched 3 more Toyota cars in 1 week from across the country. However, it is understood that a total of 5 cars were stolen from July 29th to date, but we were reliably informed that the number might be much higher. In January, Soku had cracked down on a gang that was stealing cars in the city. Soku investigators had recovered 2 stolen cars at the workshop at Montrose on the east coast of Demerara and arrested a number of individuals suspected to be part of the gang. Among those who were arrested was the workshop owner Ravin Singh and a prominent auto dealer Andrew Archibald Samaru. And moving on, opposition leader Aubrey Norton on Tuesday called on independent and international experts to investigate recent allegations made by Senior Detective Sergeant Dion Bascom. Bascom has accused his superiors at the CID of accepting a bribe to cover up the gruesome murder of Ricardo Fagundes, also known as Paper Shorts. Paper Shorts was riddled with more than 20 bullets on March 2021. However, recently, Bascom went public accusing the force of covering up the investigation into the murder. He even named a suspect, Mark Richmond, better known as Shop Man, and implicated prominent businessman Azruddin Mohammed in the crime. As it relates to the cover-up, he accused a superintendent of police, Mitchell Caesar, of taking a $30 million bribe to destroy evidence. In other news, Chair of GCAM, Thlodat Singh, has said that the GCAM is moving swiftly towards local government elections in the face of claims by the APNU-AFC of a bloated elections list and calls for her resignation. In fact, Singh appeared unfazed by the allegations of the opposition that she favors the government in her decisions. The GCAM chair also responded to claims by the opposition that the electoral list is bloated and should be used in the elections. She noted that GCAM is in its continuous registration process and heading to its claims and objections exercise in anticipation of the local government elections, which is expected to be held by year-end. And now let's tell you, the Oil and Gas Governance Network, or OGGN, comprised of a team of passionate Guyanese on a mission to educate the public and demand changes to the unfair provisions in the 2016 oil contract signed with ExxonMobil, is advancing its efforts. The team is presently in the process of establishing a legal defense fund that is geared at financing legal challenges to the lopsided deal. Dr. Jerry Jailal, a former university lecturer in the United States and a born Guyanese, in a recent article, said the idea of the fund was suggested by attorney at law and chartered accountant Christopher Ram while delivering his presentation at the Oil and Gas Symposium hosted on Saturday. And moving on, a trip to Times Square in the USA inspired a local businessman to replicate the scenery there in Guyana, and he has made sufficient steps in doing so after his company on Saturday commissioned 3 LED screens on the east bank of Demerara. The company, Pixels Guyana Inc., had earlier this year launched its traffic cam initiative along the East Bank corridor to make the life of drivers much easier, and it has proven to be quite a success thus far. Pixels Guyana Inc. had hinted back then that it was working on another project and that it is to assist in the development of the country by lighting up the east bank of Demerara with some big screens. Those big screens have since been mounted on 3 overpasses along the east bank at Houston and Peters Hall and Diamond. On Saturday, they were officially commissioned. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. This is your news at noon. We'll take a short break and return with your news.
Did you sound? Heard you got a couple $1 million for me. Summer's gonna be crazy. It's easy like 1, 2, 3. Can't believe all this money for me. Money for me. I got to get the CASH. That's the code for the vault, so let's play. Top up with 1,000 and the next day you could be a millionaire. Did you sell?
More than 15 million to grab this summer. Top up with $1,000 or more to collect the letters to spell CASH.
For a chance to catch millions in the Digicel's cash vault.
Top up today.
Did you sell?
This is GHK Lal, inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues, immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back to your news at noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Let's tell you that 21-year-old Afzal Dindial, a University of Guyana student, was on Tuesday remanded to prison for fatally stabbing a goldsmith. Dindial appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts before Chief Magistrate Ann McLennan, who read the charge to him. The accused was not required to enter a plea to the charge, which stated that on August 12th at the Muslim Youth Organization along Wolford Avenue, he murdered Karim Kayoum of Regent Street, Georgetown. Dindial was remanded to prison and the matter was adjourned to September 19th. According to police, he reportedly stabbed Kayoum around 19 hours at the CIOG's sports ground on Wolford Avenue. We understand that the two had gotten into a name-calling argument which turned violent. Meanwhile, former Minister of Home Affairs Clement Rohi is the new PPPC Commissioner of GECOM. The former government minister was sworn in on Tuesday morning by the president as the replacement for the late PPPC Commissioner Bibi Safora Shadiq, who passed away on Saturday. At the swearing-in ceremony, Rohi promised to improve professionalism within the electoral body. And in other news, a total of 91 COVID-19 cases were recorded within the last assessed 24-hour period, according to the Ministry of Health, which also reported that one patient is receiving treatment at the intensive care unit. While there are no deaths, COVID-19 dashboard reveals there are 13 persons in institutional isolation, 466 are in home isolation, and to date there have been 1,275 deaths. Meanwhile, 68,806 persons have recovered. With the time now moving on to 12 hours 18 in Guyana, we wrap things up with the page 7 of today's Kaieteur News. The people's cries are being heard. Guyana is being managed like a cake shop with no plan to advance it to a truly developed state, despite many proposals to aid such a move. Since this seems to be the plot, those at the helm can be assured that the people of this nation have no long-term plan for them to remain in high offices. Through protest action, the people have, in no uncertain terms, stated their displeasure in this current crop of leaders. And even though the people's retaliation may appear to be of no effect at the moment, the leaders can be assured that the Creator, who sees all things, has heard the people's cries for better leadership, and he must and will act in their interest. Sooner rather than later, change will come. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening. Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-84